Hi everyone, welcome back. We've been doing a little series going through some of the key arguments in the first cause argument. And today we're going to look at the question of, can you get something from nothing? If we do say the universe hasn't been around forever and multiverse before it can't have been around forever, so there's a point before which all space, time, extension doesn't exist, we get into the question, did they emerge without a creator? Or do they have a creator? But if they have a creator, that creator can't be part of that space, time, extensional, divisible, but would be like an existence that's more similar to zero, not in space at all, not in time at all. That would be coherent. If there is a creator of all of divisible mathematical reality, it will have to be not divisible, not mathematical, not very, 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 very old, but no age at all. And so I've just structured the basic idea of the first cause argument. And some say, well, why do you need a cause? There's nothing north of the North Pole, so there's no time before then, so how can you use words like before? You don't use words before like temporally, you just need to say there is no causal antecedent state out of which it emerges. In fact, one of the most insightful things, going back to Leibniz and certainly and the founding fathers of modern science, when you talk about people like Francis Bacon and Newton, this idea that all conditions are based on not random, right? They don't just happen to be, but they're based on antecedent causal situations, seems to be the basis upon which we do all of science, right? Intuitively, if you could get something without any cause and you've got a chunk of space-time here, why can't you just have another chunk of space-time bolted on that's also got no causal thing, and you just kind of travel through and meet new entities all the time that are uncaused? And yet our scientific intuition is that actually that can't be. Because if you don't have a causal antecedent state, since everything is dependent on the state before, then you're going to still have the equivalent of something from nothing. You're going to ultimately say this is, and there's a point before which nothing, and there's this, and you're effectively gone from nothing to something. Now you say, gone is a time word, you can't be ticking time in a non-state. That's true, but it doesn't really make any difference. Right? I say, why am I here? Because I was here a moment ago, right? Why is this energy pointed? Why is this whole universe? Because nothing. Now, if you believe that's possible, fine. Then you believe in something from nothing as a possibility. But realize that is not a simple claim to make. That contradicts every observation we ever made. It seems to contradict our logic, right? Maybe our logic is wrong. It's possible. But it seems to contradict our very, very deep fundamental notions that if you have nothing, nothing will come, right? If there ever is a state of nothing, it will never change, right? You can't have states that aren't based on prior states, certainly not of things that move in time in any way. And so if you're going to argue, right, that you do not believe in this non-extensional cause of everything, right, then you're going to have to argue on a something from nothing, or you're going to have to say somehow you can have an infinite past. Now, there are thinkers who say all of those things. There are thinkers who say, yes, we do have an infinite past. There are thinkers who say, yes, we can have a beginning and no cause to it, but everything else inside does have a cause. There are thinkers who say those things, and there's thinkers who say, no, you can't have an infinite past, you can't have something from nothing, therefore there must be a creator, and in fact, we're looking at the greatest evidence of it everywhere you look. Any mathematically studiable reality must have such a creator, therefore we're looking at the evidence of it, and so on. That's a reasonable debate. In other videos, we could talk in more detail about why we think those other options are really not great options and why God therefore becomes more and more and more plausible. Now, I use the word God, and some people are like, oh, you can't use the word God for that. This argument is not taking you to the point of saying a God who revealed the Torah at Mount Sinai, or a God who's got this attribute or that attribute or the other attribute, right? We're dealing with a much more broad issue of theistically, right? Those who believe in a creator of this universe that is not part of the universe, that is not spatial, not temporal, right? And yet, of its own volition, it's not part of nothing else acting upon it, it's not in time, of its own, of itself, purely autonomously, creates this entire thing. That is what the third option is. Now, I might use the word God for that. Other people might prefer different words for it. It really doesn't matter which words we're using. Going back to our atheist critique of religion, there's no reason to believe in a first cause and an infinite being in this type of non-spatial creator, right? Which, by the way, is the classical view of what Islam talks about, Judaism talks about, to a lot of Christian thinkers, what they talk about. Deists talk about this. Aristotle, although he had a different view of God to all those, right, and may not have used the word God, comes pretty close to the same idea. In all these thinkers, what they're referring to is what Ricky Gervais and others, lots of very sophisticated, sometimes dismiss out of hand. Now, I don't have an issue with people who really want to make a sophisticated argument that you can try to get an infinite past, or a sophisticated argument for something from nothing. but it needs very sophisticated arguments for things we not only can't observe, but seem absolutely downright absurd. And my point is therefore, not that in this video or that video I'm immediately advocating every rational person should believe in God, but realize that there really is a really good reason why a really rational person would think, or might think, that there really is a creator of all of this. So we've spent a few videos now exploring some of the key arguments in the first cause argument and really trying to explain what I was saying in earlier videos, a little bit in passing, in why I think, a lot of people out there say to believe in God is totally irrational. I don't know if there's absolute proof in any direction, but I think what I've shown, hopefully, in these videos is actually very strong rational basis for the belief in God. But what I want to do also is respond now to more comments that are coming up and more questions, and let us know in the chat of this video or any of the others, your thoughts, your critiques, your comments, and especially if there's topics you want me to deal with in future videos. Looking forward to being in touch again. Now, if you are actually interested in all of this and going further, I should do a bit of a shameless plug. I do have a course online. It's part of the Maven courses that we've put together, going through in quite a bit more detail the first cause argument and types of arguments for the existence of God. So if you're interested, you could just go straight there. You can see now the link and go with pleasure to that, sign up for it and be a part of it. But as I said, I may also put on some more videos specifically on this topic as well.